Hello, hero. It's Lucy Lannon here for the rest of Utober. Here for another Utober reading. If you're not subscribed, please do, for readings for the rest of the month, every day, no matter what. We're doing a friends and family today, and we're using the traditional Smith-Waite deck for ease of use, and just because I never really get it out, you know. Okay. What do we need to know in terms of friends and family? You know more than me. You've seen the description. I don't know what's coming. This is a general reading for a large audience. Take what resonates, leave the rest. If the title resonated with you, this is possibly your reading. But if you find that it doesn't hit home, there might be something else on the channel for you. Please check it out. There is a playlist in the description box of like a lucky dip of the entire channel if you put it on shuffle, so you can see a reading that might be more suited to you if this one doesn't hit home. But if it does, please confirm in the comments, because I need all the engagement I can get at the moment, and I do appreciate your feedback. Right, Page of Pentacles. Don't know why I'm turning it in such a weird way. This is, I mean, it speaks to the card really. There is somebody kind of, I know what I'm doing. Look, I'm very official. I'm here. So there's someone a bit out of the depth, potentially wanting to make some kind of offer or present something. Maybe even present to the crowd. I'm getting like kids putting on a play for their friends or parents or whatever. We've got the moon. It's a bit of a weird one with that. Tell me more. King of Cups reversed. Something wild, something out of control. And Nine of Cups reversed. This was not the dream. Alright, you know what I'm getting really? It's like a family setup. Wow, this has come up before. I think it may be in my Pick a Power where I used the Mandalorian playing cards ages and ages ago. You'll find it in the Pick a Power playlist. Or in the cartomancy playlist, should I say. There's a sense that this is probably about family, and it's probably about a setup not quite being what you imagined. If this is a friendship reading, it will be about tribe or like roommates, housemates, close quarters, that kind of thing, because the imagery that I'm getting is like a couple who wanted to be a couple in a family who wanted to be a family. And the kids in said family, you don't have to choose to have kids, it's an analogy, are doing that thing that I mentioned where they're putting on a play for everybody. And it's a kind of pipe down, so-and-so and so-and-so are doing this. And then there's other kids running round, screaming, swinging from the lampshade, you name it. And there's no quiet, there's no peace, there's no appreciation for the children who are doing the good thing. This could even be speaking to someone that you know that functions in a classroom where they're having trouble keeping everybody focused on the same sorts of things. But there's certainly that feeling of like, we all wanted to be here, that much is true. However, the results of this are not altogether desirable. You know, while the kids are holding on to a ceiling fan while it goes round, and then two of them are arguing, and then one of them's painting the walls. And the couple are trying to be coupley and just looking at what they've made like, okay, all right. This is what we asked for. I'm going to have to pick these up off the floor. Speaking to my point, because that's something I didn't necessarily want to do, because I was cozy. So you might be feeling like your coziness is disrupted by something, or there is some there is some truth or reality knocking on the window of what it was that you dreamt that you would be doing. Like, hello, don't mind me. Eight of Swords in reverse. So getting out of the idea that you've trapped yourself in this and into the realization that no, we chose this, it was us, it's our fault, it's our fault. The Chariot in reverse, again feeling out of control, but also pulled in two directions, or a kind of stagnancy, or a lack of being able to move forward as a unit, because everybody needs to be collected together. Again, the biggest vibe that I'm getting doesn't have to resonate, doesn't have to be compare, doesn't have to involve family, but the analogy is like trying to get all the kids ready for going out somewhere nice because you want to do something nice, and meanwhile one of them's on the floor crying, the other one's just shit themselves. There's another one hitting another one, and it's just like, can you please tie your shoelaces? We're meant to be there in 10. And obviously, you know, in a good household of good parenting, there would be understanding with all these children. There would be meeting them at their different levels. There would be coming to each of them individually and saying, Jacob, why is it that you feel the need to swing from the lampshade? Sarah, why is it that you're drawing us on the wall that we told you not to draw on? Or indeed, Callum, why is it that you're hitting your brother? It's always a Callum, isn't it? If you're a Callum, in the comments, hit me up, because it's always you hitting somebody. But it's that vibe, right? It's like, can we please just organise and get together and blah, blah, blah. And what's funny is that on the same day that I'm filming this, I filmed what I'll loosely call a financial reading, but it was more about leaving a workplace or having a divorce or something like that. I'm not saying that's appropriate to this, by the way, but it was again speaking to that, what I want to call gremlins energy, of like everything being so bloody out of control because you fed them after midnight. There's that kind of frustration coming through here. Temperance in the upright. Peace, tranquility. Woosa. So there's something coming in to interrupt this process, or there's something that can alleviate it in some way. Seven of Swords, there's a defensiveness here. So if you are in a family unit and maybe there's like a need to operate differently, I'm hearing educate differently, bring in outside care if that's something that you feel all right about and are privileged enough to do, or sort of just do things with slight tweaking that involves help from the outside or help from above or whatever. Because Temperance is like, because of it being an angel, it makes me think of like something coming in from the outside to super nanny your life. Or like, I mean, if this isn't like a familial situation, but it resonates, this could be like, do we need to get a cleaner because this is getting out of hand as a household or as a flat, you know? Or do we need to like, I don't know, within a group, do we need mediation, or do we need just a third person swooping in? Why am I hearing Mrs. Doubtfire? Someone suggested that what you need is Mrs. Doubtfire. I can't speak to that. I mean, you'll know if that's you. I can't really remember enough about that movie to know whether that's a good thing or not. I sense it's probably not really, but then again, Robin Williams is always a good ingredient. There's just something here about somebody coming in and making domestic life or group life, crew life easier, right? And it makes me think of the way Miss Caroline Mace, I never know how to pronounce it, speaks about moving away from a paradigm of personal healing and of working through your shit in order to not hurt anyone and indeed to bless other people, and going past that spiritually and going into the realm of what we're really aiming for is not to heal ourselves and be happier and more abundant, but to become a good crew member on this ship. And I like to think of it as a spaceship, right? I'm very much that way. And if you picture everybody around you right now as a crew in space, hear me out, would it work, right? Would you get like an Expanse type thing where everybody's really different but it somehow sort of works and everybody looks together? Would you get a slightly more chaotic Guardians of the Galaxy version of that, where it's like occasionally some of you need to rein some of the others in but it does work? Or would you get like the nightmare opposite scenario of a Lost in Space family unit where everyone goes crazy? Because I feel like Lost in Space, at least the old one, and then the one from 97, everyone works pretty well again. But I haven't seen the super modern one. Let me know in the comments how it is. But it's that thing of like, if that wasn't the case, if Penny Robinson was off the rails and Robbie the robot was doing these somewhere else altogether, and everyone had sort of turned evil or dark or whatever, what next? You know, how would you address that? How would you as an individual address how you are as a crew member to solve the thing of the group? But more than that, do you need somebody to come in and facilitate that process happening? Do you need, I think the reason why I'm using all these sci-fi analogies, apart from the obvious, is that quite often these stories are facilitated by a catalyzing character coming into this confined environment, right? You get the Ravager coming into the ship who's not used to being there, or you get somebody coming in and making new rules for the ship, or like Firefly, you get the kind of precious cargo that causes problems, or there's this thing of something coming in that's extraneous but not unnecessary. And it's like, well, how could that actually make things better? And I feel like one person in this crew is not all right with something else coming in. And maybe someone else is, and I don't know whether that's you. But there's like a need to mediate and moderate there's a need to address it on the personal and in terms of the archetypal and in terms of the responsibility of yourself, because this is why I'm being called to Caroline's work or Carolyn's work. Because first and foremost, she makes you heal yourself. And she drives a hard bargain. I'm afraid of that woman. I love her. But I'm afraid of her. And she works, she works under a Christian paradigm, but by God, fire and brimstone. She terrifies me a little bit. And that's why I'm pulled to her and to work with her, because she will tell you where you need healing, even if she only does so through an audio book or a book or whatever. But it's that thing of you first do, again with the spaceship analogies, you do a diagnostic, right? You run the thing over yourself like in Star Trek, and it bleeps or whatever, and you know what your problems are. And once you've run diagnostics, you see to that first, your own oxygen mask before, etc. But then after that point, it's like your focus is on, we're a crew now, we're a unit, we're a group. So how can I function best in the group? What am I doing that's enabling all this crazy? Knight of Swords. Again, craziness coming in. There's something here to do with words, to do with being too hasty with words, maybe telling people off because you're exasperated, be that small children or indeed your peers, your partner, could be anyone. This for some of you, I'm getting there's a polycule and you're like, there's something about it that's agitating you and therefore you're snapping at your partners and that's not like you. And that might be why I'm getting the Expanse stuff, right? Because polyamory in space. Only for some, don't take it if it don't resonate. Also, don't be judgy in the comments. But, for some of you, that's what it is. But there's someone here, like, with a misuse of words or an overuse of words or getting a bit grotty. Getting a bit grotty with someone else or a bit mardy. And I think the reason I'm pulled to the word grotty is because I'm now thinking of the YouTube thing, Grotty Corners, and how it's like a family sitcom, but it's fucking nightmarish. And it speaks to that sort of complete chaos that you might be in at the moment. Sorry, I'm hoping I'm not revealing myself in this skin. Yeah. Thoughts and prayers, bro. But at the same time, I feel like you know that you have a part to play in this, even if it's frustrating you specifically. And even if everyone else is not taking accountability for their behaviour. You'll notice within the Guardians analogy, if you are familiar with that franchise, the sort of transformation happens within the Guardians unit when everyone starts to individually take responsibility for themselves. It's not necessarily in working together to defeat a common enemy. It's in each of them becoming self-aware via the others. It's actually really brilliant characterization for the most part, but especially for Yeah, it's like you need to come to your own thing before you can be part of a potentially dysfunctional from the outside group. And also Guardians is like a very loving example. It works in ways where it shouldn't work. It doesn't operate like other Marvel movies, which is why I love it. It uses music that should be out of time, out of fashion, but in a way that's really appropriate and feels new. Everybody in it is really sort of disparate and dissonant with each other. It's very punk, the way that it's mashed together in a way that only James Gunn, coming from Trauma, whether he denies it or not, can do. Romeo and Juliet feeds into Guardians very well, I think. It's that vibe of none of us fit in a general sense, but we don't need to fit in a general sense. We need to fit with each other, and we need to be self-aware enough within that unit to make that work. And then the rest of the world won't know what hit it because you can effect change as a unit, or you can do beautiful things, or even just have fun as a unit. If this is a familial thing, you can have a very broad impact on the world by accepting each other as is, but you can't get to that point without a bit of self-acceptance and or tweaking where behaviour isn't appropriate. And that includes getting mad, getting grotty at other people. And grotty corners being like an example of a sitcom type situation, which is openly grotesque, disgusting, AI generated and thus unpredictable, horrific in places, also very tender in others. It's that sort of, you can't control this unit. You can't control what's coming for everyone involved. You can't control the other people in it. You can control you, and you can control whether you accept them as is and express you at your best and hope for the best. Now, whether or not you accept this potential, I'm hearing interlopers, so some of you aren't right with this, but potential outside involvement, we'll sort of see later, and it's down to you. But I think the more important message so far is, now then, Mardy Bum, which has come up so much recently, even though I hate that band, don't get too carried away with how you're feeling right now, or with the sense that everything is too chaotic, particularly if this is a living situation. For many, I feel that is the biggest, whatever kind of living situation it is, I do feel like it's kind of that. You might be in a position where you want to move to get away from the people that you're housed with, if it's not that you made a choice to be with them, if it's not your dream, right? You may dream of being somewhere else, but I don't think that's the answer for your growth, my dude. I'm sorry, but you've come to a spiritual channel, and what I will say is that for whatever reason, this circumstance has been drawn into your experience, and if you depart from that ship, what you will find is a ship with a crew that reflect back to you exactly the same issues over again. So you really needed to hear that, because an inner part of me is like, dang, youch, jeez, crikey. Sorry, I'm going to stop doing that now. Queen of Pentacles. If somebody does come in, not saying they have to, but just hypothetically for now, if somebody did, they might be feminine identified, or someone who has feminine qualities, or that kind of traditionally feminine domesticity aesthetic, which, yes, problematic, but it applies to all kinds of people and things. They might be hired help in the most traditional sense. They may also be somebody who's got it together themselves, or who is classy, financially abundant, a bit together in a way that you don't currently feel, maybe that you used to feel, and that's part of the problem. Maybe whether it's you or maybe even a partner or someone who has resistance to this person coming in, it's like because they're the person who is successfully doing what one or the other of you feels that they're not doing. And it's intimidating. So if it's you that doesn't want outside help or input or opinion to come in, perhaps that's because you know it would come from a person that is who you used to be, who you wanted to be. And if this is you suggesting this and maybe a partner isn't okay with it, I almost want to say maybe that partner feels they're a better wifey, or a better guide, or a better hubby, or a better housemate, domestic partner. I don't know what it is, but it's like they're better at lifing, they're better at adulting in a way that threatens this person. And that's, again, not to penalise the person who's feeling threatened. It's just to say we're all different. Stuff triggers us off differently. And again, those differences are what needs to be worked on to make the situation easier and to make the chaos fun instead of just chaotic. I'm taking one more than that. I'm not taking any more than that. I'm hearing someone say I can't take it anymore. There's a big Steve Martin, Father of the Bride, or Cheaper by the Dozen vibe to this reading. Just put it out there. Not saying those are positive or negative things. I'm just noticing it. Whatever. Two of Pentacles. Juggling. Keeping all the balls in the air. Oh God. There might also be like an event, a focus, with me mentioning Father of the Bride. And I secretly love those movies, even though they're so politically problematic, it's unreal. There's a sense of building up to something where the group has to be seen, has to be witnessed as being functional. And it's like, can we pull this off? Can we pretend for a day, guys, that we're really normal, or that we operate well, or that we have this other person as our focus and not just fucking getting through the day. So there might be a holiday or an event or a meeting or a visit or an inspection or something that you're all like, let me know in the comments. It's very exciting stuff. Six of Cups. It's not being seen, which is significant by itself. Many of you are familiar with the Smith-Waite deck anyway. I don't know why I'm trying to show you, but the fact that it's Six of Cups and that it wouldn't be seen under the current lighting fluctuations tells me that the Six of Cups meaning might be obfuscated for you. So that's quite nice, because that's like, again, it harks back to this Nine of Cups originally in reverse, where it's like, this was our dream. We all chose this. We picked our polycule, or we picked our family, or we picked our housemates, or we picked whatever situation we're in, maybe even our crew members, right? Hit me up down below. A coven for some of you, I'm hearing. We went into this knowingly, and now look at it. But it's not, and now look at it, it's, and why did we go into it knowingly? There's a sense of needing to bring up to the surface an undercurrent of nostalgia for this. A sense of what the dream was, what it is that you envisioned when you all came together in the first place, why you came together. For some of you, if this is a familial situation that's not a created family or a chosen family, but one you were born into, and a kind of event is foisted upon you at the moment, you may also resonate with an awkward assembly reading from further back, I think this month, maybe September, I think it's October. So do check that out as well. But there's this sense of like, if we can all remember why it is that we wanted to be here, maybe this gets easier actually. Maybe it's not quite as challenging as, or maybe the way that it's challenging is more forgivable because it was an unseen part of the package to begin with. I'm scared I have lippy on my teeth because I did that in another video this month, so do excuse me if I have. The Hanged Man reverse. So again, it's much like the Chariot. We're coming out of a period of stagnancy here. We're coming out of a pause and into just functioning again. But with the Hanged Man, it involves a sacrifice. So if you are the person who's opposed to external influences coming in, perhaps even in the way of childcare or something like that, I would urge you in this reading to consider it. That is the message I'm getting from Spirit. It's like, yeah, maybe it's worth second thought, or at least like a compromise conversation. And if it's not you that's resistant to that, I think somebody that's not okay with it at the moment may become more amenable if you make a sacrifice to them of something, I don't know what, you will know what, as a show of good faith, right? So if you just give this a whirl, I'll clean out this thing for a week. Or if you give this a trial run, I promise I'll take you out for pizza, or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what people do. I live on my own. Like, it's blissful. Try it. No, don't try it. That's not what I'm saying. That's not from Spirit. That's from me. Don't listen to that. But there is this sense of like reciprocity. If I give to you in this way, would you try this out for the benefit of the whole, for the benefit of the crew, right? I mean, I go on about living solo, but also I'm doing that to be a good crew member, right? To be a good mother, to be a good wife. I'm having time away from other people to kind of build up a career to be better in that communal way. So there's this sense of making a personal sacrifice of what would be easier financially, socially, whatever, in order to work to something which is aspirational for the group. So there was a reason I said it. I wasn't just being a dick. Knight of Cups in reverse. If you're in a couple or bigger, but it's something romantic, you're not feeling the romance anymore. You're not feeling the magic. There's a sense of the magic being sapped out of the situation. Again, this is why I like Father of the Bride movies, and I'm going to go on about it. I'm sorry. They will offend many of you for many different reasons that are completely justified. But also, there is a sense of the Steve Martin character that he gets so fucking exasperated, he comes all the way back round to realising why he bloody loves his wife and his daughter so much, and why he chose all of this shit, and why actually it's the best thing in the world to give his daughter a lovely wedding. Even though it may send him into hospital trying to do it, trying to organise it, trying to stay on top of everything, even though it is organised chaos and he hates most of the people involved and he's constantly stressed in a funny Steve Martin way, there is a sense by the end of at least the first movie of like, and this is why I love being a dad and a husband and a person who is privileged enough to live like this. And it is like, it's proper, you know, boomer fantasist era family where everybody had money and everything's okay. It's very white and it's very wealthy America, and that may hurt some people, and there's certainly racist elements in it as well, but it's a sexist. But generally it comes back round to this thing of like, oh, that's why I had a family, because this is fucking beautiful. Or that's why we chose to do this in a group, because we're actually stronger as a unit, and how wonderful that is, right? So I feel like with this loss of magic, with this Knight of Cups reverse, it's almost like, yeah, that Steve Martin vibe is there in all the ways, because the nuance of how he does that performance is actually like, it's kind of a wholesome movie, despite all of its problems, and it being dated as fuck. It's quite nice, right? Hoping it's okay to like it in 2023, but whatever. Watch it be like, you know, someone was assaulted on set or something now, but whatever. I'm not getting into the politics of these movies. They're just coming through, so I'm talking about them. Ten of Pentacles in reverse. That's interesting. King of Pentacles in the upright, which fits with that. And the King of Swords. Okay, you, my dude, you specifically, not your family unit, not your partner, not anyone you're blaming, not the person coming in that you feel iffy about, excuse me, confirmation, but you, just you, are being told to take yourself out of the mode of the legacy you were trying to build with this, the long-term projection that you had of this relationship, this setup, this living situation. You know, if you're in a group because you need to save money, for example, take yourself out of all of that and bring yourself back into the present moment and how you're dealing with it now and operating with it now. And kind of in that energy, apply logic, apply structure, apply a King of Swords kind of rationalization on things. Get out of your dream head is what I'm saying, and go right into the here and now and go, what is beautiful about this situation as is? What am I happy with about these people as is? What can I do rationally to help my children to calm down? You know, as we spoke about earlier, getting on their eye level, getting on their intellectual and emotional level, saying, hey, is everything okay today? And sort of talking about the behaviour as being undesirable, but also seeing whether when they sort of partially know that it's undesirable, there's an underlying reason for it. And that can apply with adults as well, right? But it's particularly good with kids, and you'll see them just calm when they sense that somebody's just curious about how they are, and they can kind of stop stropping and being demonstrative and swinging off things, and they can sort of go, I had a bad dream, or, you know, I mean, that's a very simplistic example. They probably won't be that self-aware, but they can sort of say, can I have a hug? Or I want to do this, or I don't want to go today. And then you can begin to have that conversation of, I'm really sorry, but we do need to go today, but how about we do this afterwards? Again, with the sacrifice energy, right? Or you can have the thing of, you know, you're always safe with us, everything's okay, we love you so much, and we're so glad you're coming with us today, etc., etc. So many times with children and adults, what is needed to stop them being, I want to say stupid, but, you know, obnoxious or crazy or loud or like too much, is just acknowledgement. And it sounds trite, but love, which again is why Caroline's work is coming in, because she preaches love and healing with everything, including self. She's harsh, she sets boundaries, she sets rules. I imagine she's a formidable parent, but one that also comes to everybody on their personal level in terms of healing and says, I see this about your body as a medical intuitive, I see this about your life as someone who's in a healing modality. What do you see? What do you need? How can we heal together? How can I love you better so that you can bring love to others, right? And that's the best thing we can ask of our kids, our partners, our fucking housemates that we hate. Anyone, right? Anyone that's been causing these kinds of chaos, these kinds of problems. At the root of it, what you want from them is a calm environment for you to be happy, for them to be happy, and for everybody to be able to love the world the best that they possibly can, because they're all right. So actually the logical thing to do, the King of Swords thing to do in a situation like this, seems much more wavy gravy, because it's much more cupsy, it's much more emotional. It's about loving someone into being all right and behaving better, including yourself if you are part of the problem, right? If you do fly off the handle at anyone, or if you are hasty with your words, or if you feel you say too much and then you're like, oh, because you're in a public situation or a family holiday or whatever. What you need, what everybody needs always, is love. So how can you bring that in? And when I say this, I know I said that I live alone, but I'm not saying it from the perspective of someone who's never had a family, or someone who's never dealt with very young children being nightmarish on occasion. God love them. I'm really saying this as a perspective of someone who's done a lot of that, and who's grown up around kids as well because of my parents' jobs, and has always kind of had to tap back into being the calmer energy even when I didn't feel calm. And you can see really that I'm not a calm, collected, altogether kind of a person most of the time. I'm a bit chaos. So I don't think that chaos, again with guardians, I don't think that chaos is really an excuse for a lack of loving energy. I accept that a lot of this is frustrating, but I'm going to get really personal here. Having dealt with kids that were being abused elsewhere and were being extremely difficult at a time where things were extremely tense and medically difficult for me, and extremely professionally difficult for my partner because of the whole situation, you can never have any of that be a big enough excuse or reason not to be kind to somebody who doesn't know better than what they're doing. That may be a child, that may be an adult. For some of you, it's an adult, and that's why I'm saying it. And I'm feeling stuff, and it's from you. It's not. It's not from my memories or anything. It's from almost a feeling like you might have let people down, and I don't want you to feel like that either. because I don't think you're bad at this situation. I think that this situation has reached a breaking point, at least for you. And this reading is arriving in your life today to say to you, it doesn't have to be this noisy, this aggravated, or it doesn't have to be dealt with in a way that is harsh all the time. Because within that noise, there is the dream that you had, the intention that you had, even if it was just to save some money or live with a friend or start a relationship or whatever. Nestled in all of the things that are bothering you right now and making you feel overwhelmed is the truth of the love that you originally sought out. And all it takes sometimes to calm things, with repeat effort, which is hard, is to tap back into that loving reasoning. And each time that you feel yourself frustrated or out of control or not knowing how to react to something because someone's behaviour is just not complying, again, Robbie the robot, right? Danger, Robinson family, destroy. Getting out of that panic mode, the flying arms, and into like, okay, if I can make myself calm, maybe I'll catch the eye of one of the kids and they'll be like, what are they doing? And they'll calm down a bit, and that's enough to start everything. Or if I can make myself understanding to this person who is flying off the handle or going out of control, or who for some of you is uncontrollable in a way that involves substances and can't be directly affected by what you do, sometimes all you can bring to that energy is, I'm going to be chill and I'm going to be loving and I'm going to say, hey, hello friend, it's good to see your face, how are you? Or how is your day? Or how do you feel about this journey we're going on now? Or, something like that that makes them feel acknowledged. Really, what I'm getting from this is that the other people in this situation, whether they are allies to you or not, all want to be seen. And people will do some crazy fucking shit when they want to be seen or noticed or acknowledged or loved. Sometimes they'll say incredibly offensive and awful things. Sometimes they'll be physically violent. Sometimes they'll hurt themselves. It's a big, broad range. And obviously seek help where you need it in a professional sense, because I'm not qualified anything. But what you can bring to it right now that's coming through this reading is love. And that goes a lot further than you would think, even with gremlins. Remember, Gizmo himself was a mogwai, but did not fall prey to the temptations and was protected for them by the love of his, I wanted to say masters, but that's not fair, his friends. I think you're in a motley crew. I think you need to relearn how to be a crew member, first by being real with yourself about how this has affected your emotional well-being and development, and also what it might have triggered for you that isn't to do with these people and isn't really their fault. And then once you've done that work, hopefully in a space slightly away from all of this, and if you've got time for a tarot reading, you've got time to do some of that work, then you can return to the group with the idea of, how can I benefit this crew? Not how can we all benefit the wider world, not how can we look better on the day, not how can we be accepted broadly by everybody who thinks we're parenting wrong or acting wrong or that we don't belong together or whatever the fuck it is, but how can we as a unit support each other? And I think that in that sort of way that we've been talking about with all these analogies in terms of pop culture stuff, and sorry if that went over your head, really the message is that you can improve as a group, but you have to accept each other. And if there is an offer of an intervening power, an outside help, whether that be from above or from parallel in some way, consider it. And consider why you're not considering it if that rubs you up the wrong way. I was going to say, I have been Lucy Lannon. This has been your reading. That's a silly thing to say. If you liked this reading, please hit like, subscribe, ding the dong, thank you kindly. I am a small channel, I would like to get big. I've been reading like this in person for a good number of years now, and I kind of want to do it as more of a mobile global thing, but I can't do that until this channel gets bigger, so you know what to do, right? If you didn't enjoy it or it didn't fully hit, please check out stuff on the rest of the channel, or let me know in the comments what worked for you, what didn't, what I can change. Other than swearing, which I really can't help at this point, I will, you know, follow any guidance and try and sort of tune things to you. If you do want more readings, as I said sort of in the intro, I am doing Youtober, and then there will be stuff, I'm hoping twice a week, but I'm aiming for 3 times a week from that point on a regular basis. I know this channel's had its sporadic periods of chaos, but I'm sort of fingers crossed, tentacles crossed, everything crossed that time is over for me now. So subscribe if you want regular content covering all kinds of stuff, all subjects, and in this much depth as well, because I tend to be a talker. So I hope that whatever you've been building up to goes well, and that you and your crew get along just great, and that you start to realise why it was you came together all over again, because it's a beautiful thing when that hits you. Sometimes in moments where you were angry or a child was screaming or whatever, you get a sudden sensation of, oh fucking hell, I love this. And I wish that for you. So take care.